I'm Demi Utley. I am here with part 3 of my proposal term series. So in today's video, I'm going to go over a few, I would say, more kind of contracting related terms and what they mean. So that way, if you come across them in an RFP or in a proposal situation, you know exactly what they mean and what you should be doing. So let's go ahead and get started. First up, we have prime bidder. So many times this comes up because a lot of times projects are too complex and they need multiple companies to team up in order to create a good solution for the customer. So in this case, a prime bidder is the company who actually is holding the contract. And you could think of it as like a tier. So the prime bidder is the main one, and then you have the subcontractor or group of subcontractors kind of working alongside them, but they're not actually on the contract. And we'll talk about subcontractors in a little bit. But so the prime bidder is the one who's holding the contract. And this is important to remember, especially for RFPs, because a lot of times they'll have forms and things that you have to fill out. And they want to know all of that information for the prime, because at the end of the day, your company is the one, if you're the prime, who is responsible for meeting the work that is outlined in the contract. So the prime bidder is the one holding most of the risk because they're the name is the one on the dotted line. So it's just good to know the relationship whenever you're bidding on an opportunity and who is the prime versus the sub, because that's going to affect who's signing it and what information you include in your proposal. So prime bidder is, again, the company who's actually holding the contract. And you can think of it as like the main company who the customer is working with. The next term we have today is SBE. So this stands for Small Business Enterprises. And these are any businesses that meet the definition of a small business. So you can be registered at the federal level as a small business, at the state level, I think sometimes even at the local level. So it's really important if you are a small business to get that designation, especially if you're bidding in the public sector, because a lot of times they'll give extra percentage points if you are a small business, or there are some opportunities where only small businesses are allowed to actually bid on that contract. So SB, again, is small business. So if you see that acronym on any procurement listing, just know that they're looking for small businesses. So that's something to keep in mind. The next one we have is DBE. So this stands for Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. And in this type of business, the focus is on socially or economically disadvantaged businesses, where the individual who is economically or socially disadvantaged owns at least 51% of the company and controls the daily operations. So that's another designation that's used for procurements where they might award to a DBE or an SBE. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. And then we have a few more to go over today. So the next one I have on the list is WBE. Some people also say this as WEBE, and that stands for Women Business Enterprises. So in this case, as you probably have figured out, this is a case where a woman is the person who owns at least 51% of the company and controls the daily operations. So if you are a women-owned business, make sure you go ahead and you register at the federal or the state level if you're going after public sector opportunities, because there are some cases where you will get extra points if you are registered as a woman-owned business. And then the last one we have today is MBE, also called MEBE by some people. And this stands for a minority business enterprise. So in this case, it's a minority person who is owning 51% of the company and has control of the daily operations. And the definition for minority is provided whenever you go to register. So if you qualify for that, just make sure you go ahead and sign up for that. And then if you see any of these acronyms on an RFP or procurement or in the evaluation criteria, just know that this is what this means. And sometimes there are requirements, especially in the public sector, where say 5% of the contract has to go to a MEBE. So that means that you need to either partner with someone who's a minority-owned business, or if you are a minority-owned business, make sure that you're registered so you get all of those points. So that's it for today's very quick video. I just wanted to go ahead and define these terms for you in case you haven't seen them, because they do come up a lot, especially in RFPs. And just like last time, if there are any terms that you keep seeing and you're not quite sure what they mean or what you should be doing with them, go ahead and put those in the comments and I'll try to incorporate those into future videos. And in the meantime, make sure you subscribe so you get the rest of the videos in the series. And I will be sharing more proposal tips and information in upcoming videos. I also have included links to some resources in the comment or in the description section of this video, so make sure you check that out, and I will see you in future videos.